No, that's okay. Yep. Thank you. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. Let me begin with some thanks. Thank you to my colleagues who are here today from both the House and the Senate. We're going to be joined by others, and we're going to speak briefly, each of us, because we are literally in the middle of votes. I want to thank all of the union leaders who are here today, who are representing the great workers in this building and all around the country who serve our heroes. And most important, I want to thank the veterans who are here today. Raise your hand. If you're a veteran, raise your hand. Raise your hand. Memo to Elon Musk. 9 million veterans are watching you. 9 million veterans are watching you give them the middle finger. And we're not going to stand for it. We are going to fight Elon Musk's plan to slash and trash the VA in the biggest power grab and heist of valuable information and money in our nation's history. We owe our heroes better than what we have seen in the force reduction plans. You know, force reduction is a nice way of saying massive layoffs, attrition-based reduction in the numbers of people. And we are seeing already the impacts on our VA facilities and veterans benefits all around the country. These reports come from people who work in the VA, new facilities unable to open, beds reduced at ICUs, inpatient mental facilities cut, operating rooms closed indefinitely. That's only the beginning of the practical real-life impact of Elon Musk's trash and slash approach to the VA and other federal agencies. But the VA and our veterans are different. They have earned, they deserve, as a matter of moral policy, what Elon Musk is trying to cut. And we are here to say we're going to stand with the VA. We're going to fight for our veterans. We will not tolerate, Elon Musk's disrespect for veterans and giving them the middle finger. Now, what Elon Musk says he's doing is cutting waste. In fact, he's laying waste to democracy. He says he's ending abuse, but he is abusing our veterans and many other Americans. And 9 million veterans across the country depend on the VA disability benefits, health care, day in and day out. Real life impacts cannot be ignored. And here in the shadow of the VA, I am here to say we will honor our heroes.
Thank you.
We will keep the faith with you. We will not surrender. We are not going away. We are not abandoning you. We will fight Elon Musk and his tech bros who are exploiting you and enriching themselves and the billionaires who are with them. So with that, let me again thank everyone who is here. And I'm going to turn it over now to a hero of the American labor movement, Everett Kelly, of the American Federation of Government Employees.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. First of all, let me thank Ranking Member Blumenthal and thank Ranking Member Takano and to all of the other House representatives and senatorial representatives. Thank you all for being here. My own Senator Chris Van Hollen, who is not here, but on his way, I'm sure. Okay? Labor has no better friends defending what the VA does as our nation's heroes. Welcome to my brothers and sisters from organized labor and vote yes, vote vets. You know, I know all stand for in unison in opposing the Trump administration disastrous policy toward the VA. I know that all of us do. Now, like a third of the VA employees, I myself am a veteran. And I say that the VA is the finest public health care system, not just in this country, but worldwide. A leader in care, a leader in training, in research and innovation, a leader in compassion. But President Trump, the DOGE, and the VA leadership have launched an all-out attack on the federal workforce like none ever before. This is unprecedented. Now, they want to do nothing more than just sink their claws into the VA's $300 billion budget and funnel that money to the corporate health care. Now, we know that's not right. Is that right? That's not right, right? They want to give it to private entities, to put private profit above the health and the well-being of veterans, and we will not stand for that. Veterans have served this country, and they deserve the very best care possible. And we're here to make sure that that does not go any further. We are here. I'm not thinking it's a disgrace. What do you think? It's a disgrace. Stanford University found that veterans who need emergency care are more likely to survive when they get care from the VA compared to the private care. Now, if DOGE actually believe in efficiency, which they don't, and we all know that, right? They should study what the VA does and not destroy the VA. They need to study. They need to talk to the employees that's actually out here doing this work every single day. We're going to have some folk from the VA nurses today that's going to talk to you and tell you what they do every day, and it's so vitally important. And brothers and sisters, we're here to stand with you. AFGE is going to stand with you every step of the way, and I know that all of our colleagues, all of our brothers and sisters are going to stand with you. So we need to send a loud message, not just today, but until we get this job done. How many of y'all in agreement with me? We're going to get the job done. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'd like to bring up my dear sister, MJ Burke, at this time to share a few words. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here. My name is MJ Burke. I'm the first Executive Vice President of the AFGE National VA Council, proudly representing 280,000 employees. I, like many others, came to the VA because we like the VA clinical environment and the mission that has been entrusted to us. I believe that VA's mission is the greatest of all the federal agencies. Yes. The goal of the current administration, flurry of executive orders, regardless whether it's eliminating telework or enacting hiring freezes or potentially replacing us at a 1-to-4 ratio, is ultimately forcing federal employee reduction so as to turn more VA care over to the private sector, with the result of diminishing the quality of care that we internally can provide. Because if you have 3 or 4 VA OR nurses leave despite being on an excluded list, these nurses can go to another job. But under current VA policies, managers will not be allowed to hire enough nurses back quickly enough, at the rate enough, in order to replace them. The administrative actions are purported to make us more efficient. But even before these new assaults, budget uncertainty meant hiring was already frozen. Now they want to pile reductions on top of vacancies that we already have. Even before the recent budget shortfalls, the VA needed to hire 1,000 doctors and 5,000 registered nurses a year just to keep up with the amount of retirements going out the door. 75% of our members reported that they need more administrative staff. 77% reported vacant positions that they have not recruited. These new directives will only make things worse. Our VA positions, which were already quasi-frozen, are now completely frozen to the second power. Wow. Vacant positions need to be funded and filled to fill the need of the PACT Act population, to fill the need of our aging Vietnam veteran population. We will push back against these unreasonable orders. We will fight shortfalls. VA workers, and I want you all to listen, are not weeds in the garden.
Yeah.
VA workers, hear me now. Stay strong, stay focused, above all, stay together.
Yeah. All right.
And now Mark Takano, who is the ranking member on the House Veterans Committee. I'm proud to introduce him as the ranking member on the Senate Committee, and we work closely together.
Yes,
Thank you.
Yes, we do. Senator Blumenthal, thank you so much for organizing this press conference. I know you're the ranking member of the Veterans Affairs Committee on the Senate side. I'm the ranking member. My name is Congressman Mark Takano. I proudly serve as the ranking member of the Veterans Committee. We both worked on getting the PACT Act through the Congress. And for the past 8 years, I've dedicated my congressional service to addressing veterans issues, from ending homelessness to working with nursing staff at VA to ensure that they have the tools they need to serve our nation's veterans. And I take this calling very seriously. And right now, I am absolutely furious, and every American should be furious too.
Yes.
The attacks on VA staff we are seeing right now aren't just wrong. They're a betrayal of everything we claim to stand for as a nation.
Yes, sir.
Let me tell you what makes my blood boil. These are the same politicians and billionaires who never miss a photo op with veterans. These same ones who wave the flags and talk about supporting our troops.
Yes, sir.
But now they are trying to destroy the very system our veterans rely on.
Yeah.
They're treating our nation's veterans and VA employees like disposable parts instead of the essential caregivers that they are.
Yeah.
And let's call this exactly what it is, a direct assault on veterans themselves.
Yeah.
When you attack VA staff, you are attacking the nurse who administers their toxic screening exams.
Yes, sir.
You're attacking the benefits processor who works overtime to make sure a veteran's disability claim gets approved.
Yes.
Let's take note that 2 million claims have been processed in the last 2 years.
Wow.
You're attacking the mental health counselor who talks veterans through their darkest moments.
Yes, sir.
And even worse, they have the audacity, the sheer audacity to hand over veterans' private information to an unelected, unaccountable billionaire.
Yes, sir. That's right.
Medical records, disability data, private information that veterans trusted the VA to protect.
Yes, sir.
All of it handed over like party favors to people who have no business accessing it.
Right.
This is not a game.
No.
This is not politics as usual.
No.
These are people's lives we are talking about. These are veterans' lives
Yes,
we're
sir.
talking about.
Yes.
The lives of their families, the lives of the dedicated VA employees who serve them.
Yes.
So to President Musk and President Trump, have you ever sat with a veteran during a PTSD episode?
Lord have mercy.
Have you ever helped a veteran learn to walk after losing a limb? Have you ever worked through mountains of paperwork to make sure a veteran's family gets the benefits they deserve?
No.
The very VA staff you are attacking do this every single day.
Yes.
We're not going to fight. We're not just going to fight this. We're going to fight this with everything we got.
Yeah.
Because when you come after VA staff, you're coming after our veterans.
Yes.
And if you think we're going to stand by quietly while you dismantle the support system our veterans depend on, you have grossly miscalculated.
Yes, sir.
To every VA employee, your work is sacred.
Yes, sir. Yes,
It's
sir.
God's work.
Yes, sir, it is.
Your dedication is noticed.
Yes.
Your role is essential. And we will not, I repeat, we will not let them throw you aside.
No, sir.
And to our veterans, we see this for what it is.
Yes, sir.
A direct attack on your care,
Yeah.
your privacy, your dignity, And we're going to fight like hell to protect both you and the people who serve you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Well done.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, sir.
And just like the sun coming out, we're going to shine that sun because it's the best disinfectant on what Musk and his minions are doing. President Musk, because we are not going to stand for this kind of betrayal. It is a betrayal of our veterans. Now I'm proud to introduce Senator Amy Klobuchar, a great champion. Or, you want to go, Maisie? Maisie Hirono.
It's almost like Hawaii out here.
Just come out. Yes.
Aloha.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Yeah, aloha, everybody.
Morning.
I'm glad to be here with my colleagues from both the House and the Senate, of course, to make sure that the care that the veterans deserve gets to you, to them. We have millions of veterans throughout our country, over 100,000 in Hawaii alone. And I tell you, if I hear one more time that Americans voted for the president so he can do whatever the hell he wants, no. They voted for him so that the prices of groceries can go down. Eggs, milk, they're still waiting. I feel like I'm channeling you when I go like this. They're still waiting. So they certainly didn't expect that what we're going to get is Elon Musk mucking around in all our data systems. They didn't vote for Trump to put all kinds of hiring freezes, including on veterans. And I think this is how important veterans are to our country, that he actually had to walk back that hiring freeze. But, you know, brothers and sisters, we should know that people, the rest of the departments and all the people that they support are getting screwed. So just because the veterans maybe aren't getting screwed as much doesn't mean that we shouldn't understand that just about every department is going to be attacked by this administration. And so, of course, we need to make sure that people are getting hired in the VA. In fact, we care so much about it that I was there when we all had to do legislation that would enable the veterans, the VA, to hire people faster, because they had trouble hiring people fast enough to take care of all of our veterans. We also passed legislation to enable more money to go to the people who work for the VA, because retention is really important. And here's something that I found out. 70% of the medical professionals in our country, at some point, they worked at the VA. They were trained with the VA. Did you know that? That is how important our VA system is and how important it is to keep all of that going. So we stand in solidarity with all of you to make sure that this president doesn't get to keep on just sowing fear and chaos wherever he goes. We need to stand up. We need to use our voices. And that goes for Elon Musk, who is not even elected to anything. So here we are, once again, standing up for the people in our country who deserve our support. Mahalo. Okay.
Hello. Good to see you again.
And use our voices, maybe with a few of our Republican colleagues. Give them a little bit of spine. And now another champion, Amy Klobuchar.
All right. Thank you. Thanks so much, Dick. Thanks, Mark. Thanks all the leaders here, the leaders for our workers, the leaders for veterans. So I look at it this way. When our soldiers and our veterans, when they signed up to serve, there wasn't a waiting line.
Right.
And when they come home to the United States of America and they need housing, or they need a job, or they need health care, there should never be a waiting line in the United States of America. And that, in administration after administration with workers, we have worked to make progress, and we are not going back. That is why in the middle of the Iraq War, Afghan War, we realized there weren't enough people taking care of our veterans. Now with the veterans that we had from the Korean War and World War II and the Gulf War, we realized we needed to do something differently, and we did. Then, when we saw that our vets that had come home from serving next to these notorious burn pits in Afghanistan and Iraq, when we realized they needed help, we passed the PACT Act, and our Democrats led the way in the United States Senate when they tried to stop that, and the veterans slept out on the steps in the Senate until that changed. Yeah. And maybe Jon Stewart showed up, and that helped too. But in any case, for our nation's 9 million veterans, they rely on the VA for health care. And when you start freezing things, and when you start scaring workers, and when you tell them you don't want them to work for you anymore, what do you think happens? In less than a month in office, the president has already disrupted the VA's critical work, including by initially stopping the department from hiring nurses, doctors, and hospital support staff, just when there's a shortage of medical staff across the country. But thanks to public pressure, thanks to the people behind me, they walked that back. But they're still not hiring into critical positions like people that work with claims. That means, and those of us in Congress understand that, we get the calls when our veterans need the help. They served, and we should have their backs. The president also illegally froze support for veterans and their families, fired the VA's top nonpartisan watchdog. And by the way, there's a reason it's sunny today, because they might have fired the watchdog, but we are putting sunshine on what they're doing today. Right. They fired the directors of offices serving women's veterans, the largest growing group of veterans, and they attacked initiatives that make it easier for rural and disabled veterans to access VA benefits. None of this is going to make life better for our veterans. None of this treats our employees at the VA with the dignity they deserve. Right. I watch every day when I'm in Minnesota and I'm in one of our VA facilities how the employees treat our veterans with dignity. They deserve dignity too. That's what this is about in the end. And as my friend and Dick Blumenthal's friend John McCain once said, and Maggie knew him very well as well, nothing in life is more liberating than to fight for a cause larger than yourself. Oh, right. Standing up for our veterans and our employees that work with our veterans, that's a cause worth fighting. That's a cause larger than ourselves. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. And with that,
Thank you.
Okay. Go ahead, Dick. You guys
Thanks, Amy.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
We're really proud to have with us Congresswoman Delia Ramirez. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Senator. Whew, the hypocrisy. You know, I get to serve in the Veteran Affairs Committee, and I am now the top Democrat on Oversight and Investigations. Right. And let me tell you, we have a lot of work to do. Right. We have a lot of oversight to do, and we have a lot to investigate. Because the reality is that this administration, which, by the way, has been in power for 24 days, but I promise you, I have at least 20 more gray hairs in this last 24 days. It has felt like a year of pain. Yes. And I know that it feels that way for all of you. Yes. The uncertainty, the fear. This is an administration that talks about accountability, but apparently in the definition for them in the glossary, accountability means retribution, wow, retaliation, wow, and loyalty for the Trump, Elon Musk administration. That's what accountability means to them. Yes. They're doing everything in their power to attack everything we care about. And let me tell you, I serve in the committee with many of them who say we care nothing more than for our veterans. We're going to do everything we can to protect our veterans. When it comes to veterans, we are about bipartisanship. Yeah. Well, let me be honest. That's what they're saying. But it's full of, you know the word, hypocrisy is what I'm going to say now. Hypocrisy. I don't want to get in trouble here, right? Because the reality is that they don't care about our veterans. Because if they cared about our veterans, they would make sure that their benefits, their services go uninterrupted. Right. There is no way that their services and their benefits go uninterrupted when they've decided to declare war on the very same workers that protect and serve our veterans. Right. That is the reality of this moment. Right. So what I want to make sure that you understand right now is that we're going to use every single authority in our power, and we're going to work with every one of you, because it's going to take every one of us here to be in solidarity, to work together, and to do everything to ensure that there is oversight, that we are calling for investigations, that when they decide to fire inspector generals overnight, well, these are the inspector generals, they say, that are doing the accountability, but then they fire them overnight because they don't care about accountability, they care about loyalty, that we do everything in our power to make sure that we are centering our veterans by protecting the workforce, protecting the benefits, and protecting our veterans first and foremost. So let's make sure that unelected felon Musk, because you can't spell felon without Elon, understand that the criminality that they think they're getting away with, they will not get away with as long as we stand together and fight like hell for our veterans. Let's get it done. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Another great labor leader, Randy Irwin.
Right here. Thank you. Thank you for putting on this press conference. Thank you for having me. Thank you all the members of Congress that are here and senators. Most importantly, thank you to all the veterans here thank you for your service. Thank you. So I'm Randy Irwin. I'm the national president of NEFI, National Federation of Federal Employees. We represent 10,000 nurses, doctors, and healthcare professionals across the country. These workers amaze me every day for their commitment to caring for the American veteran. To all the VA employees out there, thank you for your service every day.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Thank you. So the American people need to know one thing. The Trump administration's policies are hostile to veterans.
Yes. Yes.
In the first 3 weeks of this administration, Trump and Musk have been ruthless in their attacks on federal employees, insulting them, threatening them, and intimidating them to resign or face being fired. They have claimed to be doing these things in the name of efficiency. But anyone with any sense can see that their actions have nothing to do with efficiency. They are simply breaking our government and that delivers vital services to the American people. Now, in some areas of government, breaking things might be rationalized. But there can be no rationalization when it comes to screwing over our cherished veterans. Right. And that is exactly what is happening right now. Now, most people don't know, but veterans make up 30% of the federal workforce. The federal government is the biggest employer of veterans nationwide by a wide margin. When this so-called DOGE says they intend to cut 75% of the federal workforce, that means they intend to fire 500,000 veterans in this country.
Yes, sir.
This is unacceptable. This is not what the American people voted for. This absolutely cannot happen. Now let's talk about what happens if we lay off 75% of the VA workforce. Make no mistake, this would decimate our ability to care for veterans in this country.
That's right, sir.
And let's not forget that we make a solemn promise to every man and woman who wears the uniform that they are going to be cared for when their service is complete. But if we lose 75% of the VA workforce, we will no longer be able to make good on that promise. When they needed us, when we needed them to defend our freedoms, they were there. But now that they need us to make good on our promise to care for them, we won't be there. That is outrageous. That cannot happen. We simply cannot allow that to happen in this country. So this administration must pump the brakes on everything that they are doing to the federal workforce, because there are unacceptable consequences, just like what is happening to American veterans right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Bless you, brother.
And now another great colleague, Maggie Hassan of New Hampshire.
Well, thank you, Dick. I am here today because Granite Staters are deeply alarmed by the Trump administration's reckless actions to weaken the VA. While we can never fully repay our veterans for the sacrifices they've made, we have an obligation to try. each and every day. And one of the ways that we can try is making sure that our veterans have access to the care and benefits that they've earned and that they deserve. But instead of supporting our veterans, as you have been hearing from all of my colleagues and friends, the Trump administration quickly issued half-baked orders that will weaken and is already weakening the VA. Those orders included ordering a hiring freeze for new VA personnel, including doctors, nurses, and critical support staff, and trying to push more VA workers out the door through employee buyouts. This, of course, comes right on the heels of the Trump administration's illegal and dangerous order to freeze all federal grants, including funding that's critical for providing care for veterans and providing shelter for homeless veterans. I've already heard that people who were set to begin working for the New Hampshire VA had their job offers temporarily rescinded by the Trump administration. So this has created extraordinary chaos and uncertainty. Chaos and uncertainty that are unacceptable, and I'll also just say are really expensive. When I talk with New Hampshire veterans, they make it very clear what they want. They want more VA doctors and providers. They want it to be easier to schedule an appointment, and they want shorter wait times. And they want a stronger, more effective VA that can help them access the benefits that they've earned and deserved in our service. The last thing we need to do at a time when we need to be doing more for veterans is to reduce the number of VA doctors and staff or make it harder to hire people in the future. Let's be clear, the administration's actions will make it harder for veterans to get the quality, prompt care and support that they have earned through their sacrifice. We owe our freedom, even our freedom to gather here today, to America's veterans. My dad served in World War II and survived the Battle of the Bulge. He instilled in me that we should never take those who fought for our freedoms for granted. And in fact, he had a way of asking at the breakfast table, "What are you kids doing for freedom today?" A question he had a right to ask. One of the things we can do for freedom today is make sure that all our active duty men and women and all our veterans know that we have their backs. I have a long history of supporting common sense ways to save taxpayer dollars, but let's be clear, risking care and benefits for Americans' veterans is simply wrong. I urge the President and Mr. Musk to reverse course. Thank you.
Thanks, Maggie. I have the privilege of introducing one of our heroes here today. You know, to be a senator, to be a labor leader, we owe our nurses and doctors the kind of respect, not just money, but respect that Elon Musk and Donald Trump have no way of showing. Jeanette Essex is a nurse, and she's here on behalf of Nurses, National Nurses United. Thank you for being here, Jeanette.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
I am delighted to be here. Hello, and thank you for having me. I'm grateful to be here today with the members of Congress, union leaders, and veterans. My name is Jeanette Essex, and I'm a member of the National Nurses United, the largest union and professional association of registered nurses in this country. I have been a nurse for almost 40 years, and of course, I began when I was 2. I work in the medical intensive care unit, and I provide specialized care for our veterans. I am trained in managing trauma and PTSD, and it is the most rewarding work I have ever done.
Thank you.
My fellow nurses and I are honored to work with our veteran population, and our veteran patients value the care they receive in our facilities. But we are scared of what could happen to the VA. We are already dealing with a lack of investment in staffing. Last year, tens of thousands of nursing positions were left unfilled across the VA healthcare system. Many of our facilities operate with unsafe staffing levels, and the nurses are stretched thin. We are exhausted, and many of us feel hopeless. To add to that, we are hearing that the new administration wants to make massive cuts to VA. How could they even think of doing that? We don't know what that would look like or who all will be impacted. But our nurses are worried about their patients and job security. What we do know is cuts will impact our patients. They will experience longer wait times than they're already doing, have their treatments delayed, and will likely see reduced access to specialized care. Additionally, more veterans will be pushed into private sector care in the community, which is what Trump administration wants. As nurses, we know the best place for our veterans to receive the care they need is in the VA health care system.
All right, yeah.
Our patients tell me that every day. And as someone who's worked in the private sector before, I can tell you, coming to the VA and working there, that is the greatest accomplishment I have achieved.
Awesome.
Looking at the men and women who have given their lives for this country, it is my honor to actually take care of them.
All right, thank you.
What our VA needs right now is leadership that will prioritize our veterans and listen to the workers that provide their care. Workers like me who are the front line every day. You need a nurse to save your life. It is me as the nurse who's standing there diligently, hovering over my patient, who can see the first signs of trouble to alert the physician and the other healthcare members. We cannot let the VA be dismantled. I want to thank Senator Blumenthal and Representative Takano and everyone else who's here to inviting us to speak. Our VA workers are under attack, and we need leaders like you to stand by our side, fighting back with us. We're not going anywhere. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
That was great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jeanette. Very powerful. And now a veteran and a leader at Vote Vets, Kate Logan.
Come on, Kate.
Kate. There you go, Kate.
Good afternoon. Thank you to Senator Blumenthal and for Vote Vets for inviting me to come speak. I stand before you today as testimony that Department of Veteran Affairs changes lives. As a combat veteran, I've utilized a wide range of VA programs such as the GI Bill, career development services, mental health counseling, primary care, and specialized medicine. I can say to you with certainty that my care was excellent. But more than the care itself, what made my experiences so impactful were the dedicated professionals at VA, public servants who have committed their careers to guiding veterans like me through the system, ensuring that I had the resources that were available. Whether it was a doctor, a nurse, an administrator, or a social worker, I was met with compassion, professionalism, and a deep sense of duty. These individuals were more than just employees. They were advocates, mentors, and at times the very reason that I knew I wasn't navigating this journey alone. The service inspired me, and it reinforced my belief in public service and my own commitment to give back. Too often, the only stories we hear about VA are the challenges, the delays, the frustrations, the veterans that were slipped between the cracks. But what we don't get to hear are the success stories, and I am one of them. When veterans receive the care and the support they deserve, we don't just survive, we thrive. Yeah. And when more veterans succeed the way I have, our country's stronger for it. A nation that takes care of its warriors, builds leaders, strengthens communities, and shows the world we uphold our commitments.
Awesome.
We cannot allow the people that work behind the scenes to be taken for granted.
That's right.
Those who ensure that the veterans are getting the care they need, the benefits are processed, that the programs continue to function. I want to say clearly and on the record that their work matters.
Yes.
It matters to me. It matters to the thousands of veterans who rely on VA every day. War comes with a cost.
Yes.
That one is measured in not just dollars, but human lives.
Yes.
The men and women that I served with and every other veteran who stepped forward to defend this nation did so with the understanding that in return, this country would take care of them when they came home.
Yes.
That is a sacred contract,
That's right.
one that must not be cut or compromised. Thank you.
All right. Very good. Very good.
Thank you.
Very good, Kate.
Greatly honored to introduce a colleague of mine, a wonderful champion of veterans, and he represents the state of Maryland, where a lot of our VA employees live.
Nice to see you. Thank you. Well, let me start by thanking all of our veterans who serve this country.
All right.
And to thank all of you who are here to support our veterans and their service and sacrifice. And to Senator Blumenthal and Congressman Takano, thank you for being people who listen to our veterans and act to support them and working to bring us together today.
Yes.
And to all of our union leaders who are here representing the workers who serve our veterans every day, thank all of you who are here and throughout this great country serving our veterans and helping our veterans. All of us know that we can never fully repay the debt owed to our veterans, but we can keep our promises that we've made to our veterans who have served us so well. And I want to thank all of the staff of the VA who do that every single day. Thank you to the nurses and everybody else who does it. In my great state of Maryland, we have the VA Medical Center in Baltimore, we have Perry Point, we have vet centers and community-based outpatient clinics all over our state. And thank you to all of the workers at VA who serve there and take care of our veterans, who help heal the physical wounds and the mental wounds of war, and are there to support our veterans overall in terms of education, benefits, employment efforts, tending to the sacred cemeteries where our veterans are buried. And so thank you all for what you do. Now, right now, I think there are 9 million? 9 million veterans being served by the Veterans Administration. So we need people who are looking out for them. And unfortunately, the person that we have in the White House right now is somebody who, I hate to say it, but it's true, does not believe in service, does not believe in sacrifice. In fact, he has said it. He said that he thought that those fallen soldiers were, to quote his Marine general, former Chief of Staff John Kelly, that President Trump has called those fallen soldiers, quote, suckers and losers. This is the person that is in the White House, and this is the person who has turned the keys to federal agencies, including the Department of Veterans Affairs, over to Elon Musk. This has nothing to do with efficiency, as my colleague said. This is part of the most corrupt bargain in American history. Elon Musk spent over $280 million to elect Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is now allowing him to rampage through federal agencies. Their real ultimate goal is to shut down very important services to the American people and use the savings from denying those services to working Americans to provide tax cuts to the various wealthy, like Elon Musk and the others who were behind President Trump on Inauguration Day. When he talked about the golden age, he was talking about delivering even more money to Elon Musk and the tech titans. So this is what it's about, because if it were about efficiency, you wouldn't start by firing the Inspector General of the VA or all the other Inspector Generals in the U.S. government, because all of us know that they're there to be our eyes and ears and to look out for waste, fraud, and abuse. So you only fire Inspector Generals when you're trying to actually open the door to more waste, fraud, and abuse. And that is what Schedule F is all about, as you know, right? They now want to put in place a plan to replace 50 to 60,000 merit-based federal civil servants
Yes, sir.
with political cronies.
Yes, sir.
That
Yes,
is
sir.
also an invitation to corruption.
Yes.
And all of this is laid out in Project 2025. You may remember that was the blueprint that, when asked on the campaign trail about it, Donald Trump said, what is that thing? I don't know anything about it. But he just installed the key architect of that in the Office of Management and Budget, which of course is the command and control center for the budgets for all federal agencies. So when it comes to the VA, we know that you're already facing staffing shortages.
Yes, sir.
We know you already don't have the people power to serve our veterans. And so when they put a freeze on top of that,
Yes, sir.
that just means less care for our veterans. I mean, you work 24/7, you and your teams around the clock, but there's no way you can substitute for those huge cuts, right? And so when they put a freeze in place, that is hurting our veterans. And we also have reports that they're getting into the databases and very important personal sensitive information about our veterans. So we need to blow the whistle on all this. We need to make sure that Elon Musk can no longer continue his illegal raid on federal agencies. And we need to remind our fellow Americans that at the end of the day, what this is all about has nothing to do with efficiency. And again, everything to do with serving them, Elon Musk and those cronies, rather than serving the American people as our veterans did. So let's stand up again today for our veterans, and we call upon all of America to do it. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
We are really privileged to have with us a number of members, colleagues of mine who are members of Congress, and I'm just going to call them up in this order. Dr. Maxine Dexter, Congresswoman, Congressman Morgan McGarvey, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Raul Ruiz, and Seth Moulton, whoever among them is here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I am Congresswoman Maxine Dexter, very honored to serve the people of Oregon's 3rd Congressional District, and also extremely honored to have been one of those 70% of physicians in training who trained at the VA Medical Center. I was the chief medical resident at the Denver VA for a year, and all of you who have served, taken care of, and received care in any VA know what the sign says as you walk in. The price of freedom is visible here. And I saw that sign every single day going to care for my patients who I had for over 7 years. And it is absolutely antithetical to any one of us who believes in public service and paying forward the sacrifices of our veterans that we would be cutting the services, cutting the staff, and cutting all opportunity for our veterans to receive the care that they so dearly deserve. It's clear, as the senator just said, Trump doesn't care about veterans. No. He cares about chaos, he cares about corruption, and he certainly does not care about you. If he did, he wouldn't be gutting the very programs that veterans depend on for health care, housing, disability assistance, and even food. If he did, he wouldn't be forcing out VA employees with buyouts at a time when the system is already stretched too thin. And if he did, he wouldn't recklessly freeze federal funding without warning, cutting off vital support to the organizations that serve our veterans every day. Let's be clear, Trump doesn't care about our veterans. It's that simple. And again, it's cruel. But we are here today because we do care. And we are going to fight for our veterans.
Yes, thank you.
We want to honor our veterans, not just with words, but with action. Our most powerful tool is public pressure. We must stay loud, we must stand together, and we must press on, as our leader has said over and over again. So I'm calling on each and every one of you, reach out to your representatives, especially if they are Republicans, demand that they protect VA funding, show up at our town halls, write letters, and advocate for the veterans in your community. Supporting our veterans should not be a partisan issue. It's about keeping our nation's promise. It's about dignity, respect, and gratitude. Yes. Our veterans stood up for us, and now it's our turn to stand up for them. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Awesome. All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Senator Blumenthal, and to all of my colleagues here. And thank you to the brothers and sisters of the movement, in the union movement, that take care of our nation's veterans inside VA facilities all across America every single day. We are here because it is absolutely critical that people know that as we speak, there are lawless, cruel men trying to steal funding from our veterans. They want to do it by upending the lives of the very people whose mission it is to take care of and serve those veterans, even if it means shredding the Constitution that so many died to defend. They hope that we'll be silent. They hope they'll cow us into submission. They have no idea who they're messing with.
All right.
The proud union women and men who stand here today work hard and fight hard every day to ensure veterans are treated with the respect and dignity they deserve. I proudly am the ranking member of the only committee in the Congress that takes care of our military from the time they begin active duty all the way through their life cycle as a veteran and even along to their burial. That is a responsibility that I take very seriously, and all of us here do. It's a sacred responsibility. I know what resources are needed to care for our veterans and the non-stop assault that the VA and their employees face. But this fight is more vicious and lawless and corrupt and mercenary than we've ever seen before, and it's more personal. Our most precious VA resource is its people. And that's who they're going after. I know we consider that if they're going after you, that's like they're going after us. VA employees, thank you. VA employees who tirelessly provide mental health and basic health care and do the often thankless work, but vital work to process claims so veterans can get the benefits they earned. It's not glamorous, it's just critical. And we've got career employees, people who go to work every day despite the conditions, despite the fact that my VA hospital has elevators that slide 4 floors down at a time, decrepit hallways, a facility that was built in the 1950s in the middle of a downtown that can barely help them get on time to work because there's so much traffic. Without your muscle, your smarts, your expertise, your sweat, the VA could never accomplish its mission. It only took a few weeks to see who Trump and Republicans would go after: our people. When the White House first tried to freeze federal funding, we made clear that 44 VA programs like homeless providers, suicide prevention, legal aid, disability grants were all subject to this naked larceny. But the administration only backed off after Democrats and the unions here today fought back with our allies, and they offered a funding reprieve to the VA. But it is only a brief reprieve, we know that. The real result of all these attacks will be reduced care for our veterans and higher operating costs, part of a larger pro-inflation agenda that Republicans have wildly and inexplicably embraced. We know Trump's chaos is designed to wear us down. But we're not weary, are we?
No.
They don't know us. They don't know our unions or its people.
That's right.
We will never stop fighting back. We are relentless. We always have been. We always will be. Trump knows he can't lawfully get what he wants. The Republican agenda is too corrupt and too unpopular, so he resorts to executive orders that we fight in the courts, though as we just saw, we can't always count on that either. But whether it's in Congress, the courts, or marching in the streets, we're going to protect the VA, its employees, and the very democracy that our veterans fought for. Thank you so much to all of you here today. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Congressman Dr. Raul Ruiz. I'm an emergency medicine physician, and like Dr. Dexter, I too was trained in Veterans Affairs Hospital as a medical student, as well as a surgery intern out in the Boston VA, providing care to our heroes. And we are here to stop the illegal funding freeze, which will then come to become the funding cuts that President Trump and Elon Musk are doing to the VA. I want to also thank everybody who's here and all the veterans and all the workers who provide care, to provide the counseling, to process the benefits and all the services and the programs that our veterans rely on. And why is it illegal? It's illegal because Congress, under the Constitution, wrote into law what programs need to be funding. They authorize it, and then they fund it to a certain amount, and it is up to the president to administer what Congress allocated to those programs. Single-handedly deciding which programs to cut or which fundings to cut is illegal under our Constitution, and you bet that there will be the judicial branch who will come in and put a hold on that. The other problem is the programs that are under attack, and you're going to hear the dog whistle that Trump and Musk like to say. We're reading out fraud, waste, and abuse. We're looking at efficiency. That's a dog whistle. What they're really doing in the severe hiring freeze and the staff cuts is they are dismantling the processing in which veterans can benefit from the health care or the benefits that they need and that they deserve and that they have earned. You're going to hear that, oh, we're not cutting benefits. What they're cutting are the people that process the benefits. You're going to hear, but we're not cutting health care. But what they're doing is they're firing the nurses and the staff that take care of you in the hospital. Now, I have been in this fight for 13 years, and Representative Mark Takano knows that I have been in the fight to pass the PACT Act to make sure that veterans who were unjustly exposed to burn pits by our military and other toxins get the dignity and the care and the benefits that they need and that they deserve. And in speaking to our veterans, what I often hear is that the VA employs a delay until dead strategy. Delay the benefits, delay the care. They wait and wait and wait and wait until finally it's too late or they're gone. And this is another delay until dead strategy, because who do you think is processing your benefits? Who do you think is going to take care of you on the intake in your health care services? Who do you think is going to take care of you when you are in a coma, or when you're hypotensive, or when you have a pneumonia, or when you're having difficulty to breathe because of your exposure to burn pits? It is these men and women who have devoted their lives to take care of you. So don't believe the dog whistle. Don't believe the fraud, waste, abuse, inefficiency. They are dismantling this system to delay until dead. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ruiz.
Great job, Dr. Ruiz. I think our final speaker is Will Attic of the United Veterans Council, if he is here. I think we are at the end. We're happy to take questions. Let me just say, you know, the cause of veterans should be bipartisan. The PAC Act was bipartisan. Democrats spearheaded it. This cause should unite Democrats and Republicans. So I challenge our Republican colleagues, stand strong with veterans. And I challenge our veterans, hold accountable all of your elected representatives, both sides of the aisle, at the rallies and the town halls and wherever you encounter them. Ask what they are doing to preserve the men and women who are saving our veterans, literally day in and day out, whether they are providing the benefits or standing over them as nurses or in the operating rooms as doctors. We need to stand with the VA, and we will. Any questions?
Thank you. Eric Katz with GovExec. So the VA has carved out these exemptions on the hiring freeze, and the funding freeze appears to be on hold, at least theoretically. What is the biggest concern, like in this present moment? Is onboarding, as you understand it, actually happening in VA? Are there parts of VA that are not carved out of the hiring freeze that you're worried about?
We're hearing from VA employees across the country they are not filling open positions for doctors, nurses, technicians, housekeepers. And in fact, the latest executive order says only 1 in 4 positions will be filled across the government. That is a death knell for the VA. The VA is about people. It isn't a block grant program. It's about care. It's about making sure people get the benefits they deserve. And this hiring freeze is having decimating effects, not just on filling positions, but on recruiting. Doctors, nurses, they're in short supply. They have other places where they'll be paid more. That's right. And the VA has actually been telling people who've been recruited and hired, sorry, we can't pay you. And then jerked them around and said, well, now we may have open positions. But people can't live that way.
Senator, can I add something?
Sure.
Of course, you know what's really all behind this. If there are fewer employees, fewer healthcare providers at the VA, then that's going to mean that patient care takes longer. What happens when it takes past a certain point for a veteran to get an appointment at the VA? They go to community care. And we're already sending $30 billion out into the community, and we know that veterans prefer to get their care at the VA. This is part of their insidious long-term goal to privatize the VA. The longer it takes to get an appointment, or the further away that a veteran has to go to get their care, the more likely it is that that care has to be received in the community, and then we're on a slow and steady march to privatization. That's part of what this is about.
Here's the other thing that happens. When they don't fill the positions, when they don't pay the benefits, when they don't provide the care, the money goes to billionaire tax cuts. That's the agenda here. It's real simple. Starve the VA, strangle it, slash and trash, so that you can have more money for a billionaire tax cut.
Jory Heckman with Federal News Network. OPM closed their deferred resignation offer to the entire federal workforce last night. There's a lot of parts of VA that are exempt from that offer, but what happens next for the VA and the employees here? What are you hearing as far as the next steps for them?
You know, that whole incentivized retirement deal is such a scam. Look at what Elon Musk did at Twitter. He promised the same kind of buyout. People who took it, most of them never saw a dime. Don't trust this offer. And they've closed it, but the effects on morale have been devastating.
Yep. Doesn't HIPAA apply to the VA?
The laws do apply to the VA, yes.
So could a VA person then file a lawsuit against somebody who went into the VA health system?
Well, I used to be a real lawyer as Attorney General of the state of Connecticut. I'm not going to provide legal advice, but I'm happy to talk to you afterward. Any other questions? Because I've got to get back to a vote. I'm sorry, on what? You know, we're here about betrayal of veterans. We're going to stand strong against that kind of betrayal. And a great nation keeps its promises. The United States of America needs to keep its promises to veterans. We're not going back. We're not going to betray our veterans. We're going to stand strong. We're going to be together. And we are going to keep fighting. Thank you all for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Always good to see you.
Thank you.
That was good. His party, right?